Morning, my fellow Malaysians. This is Dr. K.N. Singh with another comment about what's going on in Malaysia. It was disclosed in Parliament by Dato Sri Azlina Osman Said, who was a Minister of Law and Institutional Reform in the Prime Minister's Department, that 18 cases of prominent figures were granted DNAA, which is discharge not amounting to acquittal. In 2020 and 2023, they had the highest numbers of 5 cases each. She also said that the DNAA were in accordance with Article 145 bracket 3 of the Federal Constitution, which stipulates that the AG shall have the power to commence, conduct, or discontinue any proceeding for an offence other than proceedings before Sharia court, children's court, and military court. Section 254 bracket 1 of the Criminal Procedure Code also allows for the courts to grant DNAA upon request from the prosecution. The DNAA does not equate to an acquittal, which means that these individuals can be recharged for the same offences in the future. This provision may be relevant in complex cases involving corruption or financial crimes, where further evidence may emerge over time. However, we are seeing this legal tool being used to free influential figures, as seen in notable cases like the former Prime Minister Najib Razak, our present Deputy Prime Minister Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, who was granted a DNAA in September 2023 for all 47 charges related to Yayasan Akal Budi funds. The High Court made this decision after the prosecution requested it. The Madani government was elected as it promised to deal with corruption. The PMX still says that he wants to eliminate corruption with every chance he gets, but from what is evident, these are hollow promises just to get into power. I was one of those who believed him and voted for him. The previous MACC chief, Latifa Koya, in an interview with Straight Talk, took the bull by the horns and said it was Prime Minister Anwar's fault, as he did not live up to his promises. Anwar formed this government with UMNO, and he has now to overlook the corruption or his government will fall. I agree with her completely. Now that Anwar has the power and he wants to keep it, he seems to have forgotten his promises to the electorate. I think we need to vote carefully at the next election, about 2 years away. If not Anwar, then who can be Prime Minister? This is the question I'm often asked. But vote carefully. Don't worry, as the right leader will emerge when the time comes. Let's get rid of the incompetent people first. In the next election, a new leader will definitely emerge. When the Indian Prime Minister Nehru died after 19 years, people were worried, who is going to be the next leader? But then Shastri emerged from the shadows and was perhaps the best leader India ever had. He was a new, unknown face in Indian politics. Prime Minister Anwar has demonstrated in the last 2.5 years that he is only after power and international glory at our expense. The DNAA is misused. All the corruption cases must be tried, and if they are found guilty, must serve the sentence and return the money. The sentence should not be discounted or reduced, as they are guilty. There is no such thing as partially guilty. Either we are guilty or we are not. If we are not guilty, we should be freed. This addendum that everyone is talking about now was not revealed earlier by the Prime Minister, and this is completely wrong, and it erodes Prime Minister Anwar's credibility, which is at an all-time low now. Transparency is the key, and DHAA must not be handed out in cases of corruption among politicians. Most of these 18 cases were given of DHAA were from UMNO. Those from UMNO I include Najib Razak of 1 MDB, Ahmad Zaidi Hamidi, our DPM, with 47 cases of corruption. Ahmad Maslan, UMNO Secretary General, had charges dropped after paying a fine of 1.1 million for having been paid 2 million by Najib Razak. He still got away with 900,000 in profit by corruption. Tunku Adnan Tunku Manso, former UMNO treasurer, had his conviction overturned. Musa Aman, the former Sabah CM, had 48 corruption charges dismissed. He received 50.1 million from 8 logging concessionaires as an inducement to approve logging concessions to 16 logging companies while he was the Chief Minister of Sabah. There was an affidavit from the former AG, Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Patel, who decided that this money was for political funding and not corruption. He decided, with a few high-ranking officials, that this case should be discharged. Bang Mokhtar Radin, MP from Kenabatan, faced corruption charges involving 2.8 million relating to Feltra Berhad investment. The appellant court found the High Court decision to acquit Bang and his wife Zizi Aziti premature, and this case is now remitted back to the Sessions Court for continuation of trial, which starts on the 9th of April 2025. Additionally, over 81 UMNO division leaders were charged with obtaining funds from an organization under the former Prime Minister's administration. If DAP speaks up and calls a spade, Malaysians may vote for it. But being part of the government, the DAP is silent, and this is infuriating to the Rakyat who elected them. Sadly, people forget easily, but if they are reminded, hopefully Malaysians will not vote for UMNO anymore. Maybe if a new Green Party emerges, Malaysians will support them. Buddha was a viable option if Syed Siddiqui's appeal is fast-tracked and his case, which may be political, is decided soon. Sadly, the royalty will not intervene, as Tun Mahathir made sure the royalty toes the government line. But on the other hand, the Rakyat trusts and looks towards the royalty to keep the government transparent and in check. The people will sadly and wrongly blame the rulers for not doing anything. Perhaps the rulers should meet in a rulers' conference to discuss what is happening in the country. Malaysia is a rich country with resources, but billions have been siphoned by the corrupt. While people watch helplessly, trying to make an honest living, while the corrupt get away with our money. Many of those who listen to my podcast have called to say that I was saying what most Malaysians think, but could not put into words. I am told that if more people like and subscribe to my podcast, Google will put it on top, so it will reach many more Malaysians who can get these podcasts. If you like what I say, you could go ahead and do that. This is just my personal view, and if you do not agree with it, that's fine. Feel free to delete it. With this, I thank you very much for listening, and until we meet again, this is Dr. K.N. Singh. Bye for now.